whole of paper 2 and paper 4, we have public administration's bearing on that. Now, there are a few questions. I can give you a few examples of the questions as well. Before I give the example, let me tell you what is to be done first of all. What is this distinguishment or what is the difference? See, basically, when it comes to general studies, what is expected is, general studies is a paper that is common to all across the spectrum of the candidates, irrespective of their graduation, background of education, and the optional subjects. So, most of the times in the general studies, what is expected of a candidate is a relevant answer, wherein the candidate has the liberty to either quote or not to quote, say, articles of the Constitution, or reproducing the articles of the Constitution verbatim, or quoting using certain jargons. This is not expected. So it's a very generic aspect. All that what they want is, what is a question and whether there is an answer for that question or not. That would be enough, right? Whereas the question, if it is asked in the optional subject, then definitely they would require, they would expect you to have a proper understanding. When I say proper understanding, the theoretical underpinnings, and how much conceptually and theoretically the answer is based. From, are you having a theoretical base which you are actually, from which you are building your answer? That is being checked. And they expect you to use certain jargons associated with that particular subject. When it comes to public administration, there are jargons associated with public administration that you are expected to use. If it is sociology, then the jargons associated with sociology you should use. This is expected of you. That's how you can distinguish and differentiate your answer from the general studies answer to the optional subject answer. For example, powers of the president. Powers of the president is something that can be asked both in Indian Constitution and Polity paper 2 of the GS, as well as in public administration. For example, I'll quote you an example. The Constitution of India vests in the President of India vast legislative powers. This was a question that was asked in the mains. Right? I repeat the question. The Constitution of India vests in the Indian President vast legislative powers. Supposing if this is a question that is asked in general studies, right? You can simply list out the powers of the president, and you can say that the president's powers are various, and it begins from the constitution of the house till the dissolution of the house, and therefore it is vast, right? But if it is public administration, then you will have to explain, you will have to quote how it is vast at every dimension. First of all, you have to define what is vastness. Right? First of all, you have to define what is vastness. Vastness is end-to-end governance. The President of India is part and parcel of the governance, both in all aspects of the governance, namely structure, process, and behavior. When it comes to structure, President is part of the Parliament because Article 79 says, there shall be a Parliament of India which shall comprise of the President, House of People, and Council of States. Right? And when it comes to the governance process, the governance is done through policies and legislations. And when it comes to the legislation, the president's role is found to be from the initiation and introduction of the bill till the bill becomes an act and getting implemented. So this is the way you will differentiate optional answer and general studies answer. Is that clear to you?
Absolutely, sir. Thank you for clarifying that aspect. So now, as you were discussing more about public administration as an optional, so the UPSC annual report generally comes to an average that we have around 73% of the students who attempt this exam are engineers. A lot of students are coming from the technical background. So in this regard, I just wanted to know from your perspective, why public administration is a great bet for a student, both from the technical and non-technical background, and what advantages a student has during the exam and even post the exam by taking PubAd as an optional. Can you throw light on?
See, first of all, as we discussed about the exam, one of the, if at all there is any difficulty in this examination, is that this examination has variety of readings. Right? It's not vastness, but variety. You have to read every subject: history, ancient, medieval, modern, economy, then constitution and polity, then current affairs, then science and technology, and general science, right? Ethics. So many things you are supposed to read, which means you are running. And moreover, this examination spans over a period of 1.5 years. During this period, the number of hours of preparation, how much you can spend every day apart from the class, will be very limited. And that is a fundamental difficulty, which means you will be running short of time. So when you choose public administration, you read constitution only once, which is used for polity prelims, polity mains, public administration paper 2, and paper 4 ethics. Remember, constitution is a basis for ethics paper as well. Right? Probably we can discuss about the use of the relationship between constitution and ethics sometime later. So much you can organize another meeting, we can discuss about ethics paper as well. So all that what you have to do is to save your time. You should read only once. See, very simple. One product sold in multiple forms. Right? That's the best business tactic, isn't it? If you have gone to a restaurant, you'll find restaurants will have only 4 different basic pastes: ginger based, right, onion based, then chili based, then tomato based. Whatever you order for dishes, they will give you one of the bases is chosen. Now, think like a chef. You don't have time. That way, public administration will help you. It's very handy. You read only once. And when it comes to the conceptual aspects, whatever concept you are going to read as part of ethics, you will already be studying as part of PubAd. And whatever you're going to apply for ethics paper 4, you would have been thoroughly read, and you would have read much vaster and deeper in public administration. So ethics paper is going to be a cakewalk. So time saving is very, very important. And you have, see, when you save time and you read only one subject, which is applicable for 3-4 different areas, you can always become stronger because you'll have ample time to revise. You can focus on other subjects what you're weak at. Maybe economy is full paper, right? Paper 3 is full of economy. Sometimes you feel economy is very difficult for you, or economy is very dynamic and current affairs is to be given importance. You can use the time. Instead of choosing a science optional, spending 4 hours for the science optional, spending 4 hours for GS, then 2 hours for newspaper, running pillar to post. That's why I told you choosing optional is a technique of smart preparation. So that is the advantage of public administration. Number 2, in mathematics, they call it as law of average. If you see the annual report of UPSC, over the period of 1988 was the first year when public administration was added as a list, added to the list of optionals. From 1988 till date, if you see, the average is about 8 to 14% of the candidates have been choosing. Sometimes it has gone up to the level of 26%. Right? Minimum was 8% and 26%. So average of, if you average it out, it's coming around 17%. Close to 17% of the candidates who appear in the mains have been choosing public administration. So by the law of average, your success rate is also higher, right? And that is the reason why this option is better than other optionals. All right. And number 3, this optional public administration is one of the, as a subject, it is very youngest discipline. Though public administration as an activity has been existing for centuries together when the human societies got settled down, as a discipline, it's hardly 120 years old. So the subject matter what you're going to study is very, 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 very limited. All that what you have to do is to extrapolate. So anybody who is good at analytics and who has an analytical bent of mind, you must choose public administration because you will save much of time. See, basically you can save much of time is because what you have to study is very less, and 50% of the part you're going to study for your GS, whatever be your optional subject. Can you skip polity? Can you skip constitution? You can never, because it is one full paper, 200 marks. So you cannot skip. Instead, we take it into the fold. It's like a cartel formation. When you cannot win over, just form a cartel. It's something kind of a formula. And another important advantage of public administration is, though there are 27 different units in public administration, paper 1 and paper 2, you can condense them. Right? You can condense them. Because paper 1 is, see, the way the optional subject is designed is, paper 1 is conceptual and paper 2 is application to Indian side. So you can always condense. For example, when you study recruitment as a concept. And when it comes to Indian administration, you will study recruitment as a concept, how it is applied in India, and what is the role of UPSC, Provincial Public Service Commissions, SSC. So when you condense, the syllabus still becomes shrunk. So it's very easy to score. As a result of which, why I am telling the syllabus is because you can easily identify which is the area from where you should focus to score. Right? It's very, very easy. And it is limited. For example, if you take the financial administration, budget is the most important aspect. Fiscal policy is the most important aspect. Anyway, you will study it as part of your economy. And with public administration, for sure, in financial administration, nearly 60 marks is assured. It's a very limited portion and 60 marks is assured. Out of that, budget carries 30 marks. Fiscal policy, budget and monetary policy carries 30 marks. I hope you understand why PABAD is a better bet.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely, sir. Great. So now that, we have narrowed down on that, can we go a little broader? And could you please throw light upon what is the science behind scoring 300 plus in the optional? And are there any step-by-step process that a student can follow irrespective of the optional? Because, sir, as you always say, it's not the optional that scores, it's the student that scores.
Exactly, yes.
Correct? So the point is, could you please throw light upon what is the science behind scoring 300 plus in an optional, in any optional for that matter? Is there any steps to follow?
Definitely. As I began at the outset, I began with the note that this is a technique-based exam. When we say technique, it is a technique of the exam, not confined to any one subject. You can apply it to your optional subjects, whatever be your optional, whether you choose PABAD or otherwise. And your general studies, your essay, right? And more important, you can use it for your lifetime, because the technique, what I am going to suggest you is something that is very close to the nature of the human brain. See, basically, when it comes to preparation, first of all, there is a three-pronged approach, a three-pronged triangular approach. One apex is your previous year questions. Second apex is second corner is your reading, and third corner is your current affairs. First of all, before you start reading any subject, any lesson, any chapter, to be very precise, any topic, go to the previous year questions, minimum 10 years questions, find out whether there was any question asked from that topic. For example, you are going to study the pardoning powers of president. Go to the question paper, GS as well as optional subject. For example, if it is PABAD, go to the PABAD paper as well, at least 20 years. Find out how many questions are asked, which are the questions. Going through the questions will help you to focus the topic. In what focus the question setter is, basically very simple. Why I'm trying to tell you is that you want to score marks, you have to see in all the exams, when you write answers, the question setter would have given certain key points. And the examiner will search for the key points, give, take and give marks, right? To know what is that, See, the key is also, the question is asked from a particular topic in a particular book. Then the key is also located in that book only, right? But we do not know what the key is. So to identify the key, what the examiner could have likely, what he would have likely given, set as a key, you need to get into his mindset. How do you get into his mindset? By understanding the way the questions are set. So it's like this. I hope everyone would have watched the Tom and Jerry cartoon, right? What is very comedy about that? What happens in the normal times, in the normalcy, if you reverse it, it becomes a comedy. Normally, a cat chases a mouse, and Tom and Jerry, the mouse chases a cat. The cat hits the mouse normal times, normal days, normal life. There, the mouse hits the cat. The same way, to crack the exam, this is a Tom and Jerry technique. Become a Jerry. Get into the examiner's mindset. You get into the examiner's mindset, you know how the questions are asked. When you know how the questions are asked, you know what the answer key should be. When you have that idea and go into the books, your brain will catch hold of the key points and definitely you will never forget it. Then, after having given a read, keep following the current affairs. What is relevant in the current affairs to the subject matter? Remember, public administration or any optional for that matter, there are questions which are asked from current affairs as well. Not only in general studies, but also in optional subjects. Then current affairs is important. So this is the fundamental studying technique. Then comes the cracking the questions. See, when it comes to writing answers and scoring, the most important aspect is cracking the question. 50% of the marks is with you if you had cracked the question properly. Every question will have a keyword. The keyword will tell you what is to be done. Sometimes they'll ask you to comment, sometimes they ask you to discuss, sometimes they ask you to examine or elaborate. The keywords are important. The second set of keywords will be the ones which will tell you the operating area, where you should comment on, what you should comment about, what you should discuss. If you've cracked it, you're done. You're done. 50% you're done. Half well begun is half done. That's a problem. Third thing is presentation. Remember, presentation matters a lot. End of the day, how you present, how your paper appears brings the examiner close to you. You might be knowledgeable, you might be extraordinarily knowledgeable, you would have given a brilliant answer, but if the examiner doesn't come into that, so presentation matters. Presentation, by presentation, what I mean is structuring of the answer, organizing the answer points, putting them in proper order, beginning and concluding. So what I would say is, after having cracked the keyword, if you break the keyword, if you open up the keyword, you will definitely get minimum of 3 different lines of thought. One, agreeing to the key, 2, opposing it, and taking third, neutral. Supposing I don't know how to take the neutral, at least 2 points will definitely have. Then you decide about the conclusion based on the question. And then, based on the conclusion, organize the points and then decide the introduction. Remember, preamble to the Constitution was the last part to be made. Preamble is introduction, because the introduction is the essence of the answer. So that has to be last. Many a time, the biggest mistake, most common mistake what people commit in the examination is to use introduction as a time for thinking, which is suicidal, and it will be definitely killing the quality of your answer and keeps the examiner away from you. He will recede. So first, crack the question, identify the keywords and crack the question, come to the conclusion, then gather the reasoning points to substantiate your conclusion, organize them according to the conclusion, what do you want to write, and then decide about the introduction. After that, put your pen on the paper. Never, ever put your pen on the paper and think. You cannot think through the tip of your pen. You have to think through your brain and put it across on the paper through the tip of your pen. So this is a very simple and fundamental followable technique, but little difficult. Uday, you want me to repeat? I shall repeat again. First of all, questions are important. Go to the question. There will be keywords in the question paper. Each question will have keywords, 2 sets of keywords. One will direct you to do something like comment, discuss, examine. How do you agree? How far do you agree? Likewise. Second keyword will tell you the operating area, which will tell you what is that you have to comment upon. What is that you have to examine, identify them. If you identified it properly, you minimum have 2 points. Either you can agree to that point, what is given in the question, or you may disagree. I'll give you an example as well, as Pradeep Sean has asked. The Constitution of India has vested in the president vast legislative powers. Comment. Comment is a keyword. Comment on what? The Constitution of India has vested in the president vast legislative powers. Vested, vast legislative power is the keyword. What you have to comment upon. Whether the Constitution vests in the president vast legislative powers or very narrow legislative powers. This is a conclusion you are going to make. You may either agree, yes, it is vast, or you may say that it is, no, it is not. President's power is very, very limited. So this is a conclusion you're going to make. Based on that, you have to gather the points. If you are going to say that it is vast, then I will say it is very vast because president is part of the parliament, and he is the one who has the power to dissolve the House of People and call for elections. So it is vast. The very existence of the parliament depends on him. Without him, the parliament doesn't exist. When it comes to a bill, he has the right to introduce until only if he gives his assent, the bill becomes an act. And he has the power to veto the bill and kill it. Not only here, but also he has the power to do it with respect to state bills, according to Article 200, when the bill is reserved for President's consideration by the governor. So I can give points like this and say that it is vast. Uday, is that clear? Pradeep, is that clear?
Pradeep and Uday, please type yes if it's clear. Yeah.
All right. So this is the way it is. After that, you decide. See, now that we have, I have decided the conclusion. I have decided the points. Now I have to decide upon the introduction. How I am going to introduce the answer. How I am going to begin the answer. Introduction need not be paragraphs. In GS and all, it need not be paragraphs. It can be one simple line. All right. So this is the technique that you have to follow. I hope I'm clear about
Absolutely.
this you follow. I'm sure this technique you try. See it. I tell you, it is easier said than done. It is very difficult to get into that. You have to habituate this technique. It is like cooking. It is like swimming. It is like learning to ride a bicycle or a motorbike. It will be difficult. You may fall down. You may have pitfalls, but doesn't matter. Once you are done with it, it's with you. It's an art. I hope it's clear. Right.
Absolutely. So to sum up what you said, the science or the mantra behind scoring 300 plus in an optional is first know your boundary by understanding your opponent. Second is building the presentation and structuring your answer and going about practicing this and making it as a habit is the mantra towards achieving 300.
Exactly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for simplifying that. So it was a really introspective discussion, sir. Thank you for those insights. In this regard, what I shared with you was a collative questions of what has come to me from the students.
Okay.
So can we take 1 or 2 questions from the students directly so that, you can make students, if you have any questions related to optional, you may please raise your hand or you can put it in the chat box so that we can unmute you. Yeah. So the first question that came, we have one student. I'm unmuting. Pratyusha, I'm unmuting you. If you could please come on the video, even that will be, if you're comfortable, please come on. Yeah.
Sir, hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So my question is, sir, I have a senior who has taken public administration as an optional. So what he lost his prelims in his last attempt. So what he said was framing the answer in public administration is really tough. So I didn't really understand because I didn't choose it as an optional. So can you explain how is framing answer in PubAd is different from other optionals?
See, framing answers for PubAd and other optionals are different in sense that they are different subjects, but otherwise the technique remains the same. And your friend would have found it difficult because one of the difficulties, if the students, what I'm seeing, facing in public administration is, they are finding it difficult to understand the questions and cracking the keyword, right? And now, Stephen, I will answer your question as well along with this answer. How long does public administration take to finish from scratch? This is the fundamental problem of the students. Any subject, right? Any subject, you have to continuously in touch with the teacher, and you have to continuously familiarizing the subject rather than, see, there is nothing called as a syllabus that you can start from here. Okay, chapter number 1, lesson number 5, and finished. Lesson number 22. Okay, book 1 is finished. It doesn't work it doesn't work that way. Because there are several developments which are happening. I told you current affairs is very important. And public administration paper 1 is very static. Right? It evolves, it takes at least 30 years to evolve, move from one position to another position. And when you study PubAd, you will know. We will divide public administration to different stages every 20 years. All right. So the subject matter is limited. So how will the examiner make it complicated, little complex for you? By tweaking the questions. So to crack the question and to understand the question, it is not enough to complete the syllabus. It is not enough to complete the syllabus that is given in the UPSC and completed all the topics you have read, have been taught in the class. I have read, finished. For example, there is Max Weber's bureaucracy. Okay, sir, bureaucracy I have covered. You have taught me, I have also read, fine. But remember, your friend had the problem, and many students have the problem because of the reason what I'm going to tell you now. Bureaucracy is basically a concept. But bureaucracy, Max Weber's bureaucracy is applied in every other unit of public administration. Development administration, we will see. We will try to understand development administration from bureaucracy's background. Got it? That is the reason why they are finding it difficult. They are not understanding. They are not continuously getting familiar with them. See, you are approaching the subject, this exam, more like a school exam, more like a school exam's preparation. See, only with respect to the behavior, it is a glorified 12th standard exam. I hope you understand. I don't want to mislead you. Let me clarify it. All right. You have to have the discipline of a 12th standard boy. Unless you have it, you may not be, the sincerity with which you will appear in the exam is more important. But it is a higher level of, when it comes to the subject knowledge, it's little higher level. You're a graduate, right? So it is the application side is more important. Many a time what happens is, we read the syllabus, we read according to the syllabus, the book, and we say, okay, I have completed this. But remember, they are not going to ask you to reproduce from the book. They are going to test your knowledge based on your ability to apply it. If you have studied bureaucracy, you should be able to understand, you should be able to apply bureaucracy with respect to the rural development, the problems of rural development in India. Pratyusha, is that clear to you?
Pratyusha, could you please confirm? Yes, if it's clear. Yeah. Okay.
And Stephen, I think I have answered your question as well. Don't have this time frame. When it, see, not only for this optional subject, not only for public administration, any optional subject, try to be with the teacher till your exam. All right, till your exam. That's very important because it's about, to be very precise, these humanities subjects like sociology, history, PubAd, PSIR, these are more discussions. If only you involve yourself in more of discussions, you will be able to crack the question and formulate answers. When you attend the class, take the book, sit alone and read, and then go to there will be a disconnect. The mentor will always bridge the gap. That's the importance of the mentor as well. I would like to make that point clear to you here in this exam. I hope I have answered your question. Katyusha, have I answered, or if you have any questions, you can ask.
Yes, sure, she has acknowledged. Yeah. So, so one more question that Nidhi has asked. Could you please give me insights on choosing law as an optional subject? And how much does that overlap with the rest of the portion?
Nidhi, are you a lawyer? First of all, I would like to know, are you a lawyer?
Nidhi, could you please raise your hand so that I can mute
Are you a lawyer? Then fine, you can go ahead. See, law basically has constitution as the base, right? And when you've done law, constitution you'll be thorough with, and so paper 2 will be all right. And as part of law, you'll be studying ethics as well, right? But only to some extent you will be able to, because most of the times the law case laws are, most of the Supreme Court's case laws are based on ethical and moral considerations. So law you can definitely take, and the success rate is better in law. But only thing is that you will have to choose your own teachers appropriately. Because I don't suppose in South India there are institutes which focus on law. That's very important. And at this point in time, I would like to also answer the question from Nidhi. One more thing. Priyanka has asked, is it necessary to join a coaching academy? No, definitely not. Definitely not. Let me tell you. See, coaching academies are like the shoes that an athlete wears. They can only reduce your shocks, reduce your pains, improve your acceleration. They cannot determine your results. Remember, coaching institutes and mentors are only those who bridge the gap. If you can bridge the gap by yourself, well, you can go ahead. And there are n number of people who have cleared in their first attempt itself without joining a coaching institute. So definitely not. It's not required. However, I would advise you to go to a coaching institute for certain other reasons. The reasons are, it helps you to get into a regularity. It will help you to dissipate your stress. It will help you to understand certain competitions. What is the level of competition over here? Right? Such aspects are there in the coaching institutes. When you are, your coaching, your mentors should be able to more empathize with you than your parents in society, particularly when you have repeaters. Particularly for the repeaters. Many a time what happens with the repeaters is that their social pressure is very much mounting, and it will be very difficult. Sometimes you prefer to work and then prepare. So when you work and prepare, when you come out of your job, you may feel tired, you may not be able to read something. At times when I was preparing, I could not read few books which came in the nearing the mains. So I went and gave the books to my teacher. I told him, then what do you do? I don't know. We have only 2 months time. Read and give me the notes. And when second IRC recommendations came, I myself had taken classes between 9:30 and 2:30 in the night, because second IRC report came 1 month before the exam. The students could not read, then I had to read, and then we had to have the discussion classes. These advantages you will have. But otherwise, I would never tell you that only coaching institutes will make you. No, definitely not. So let me reiterate my quote. It's like shoes of the athlete. And Nidhi, with respect to law, if you are good at law and if you can sail through law on your own, it's best. Law is a wonderful subject, and you can always go with that. And law has 14 to 15% of the success rate.
Sir, one more last question by Uday. Uday, I'm unmuting you. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir.
Hi, Uday. Please go ahead.
Sir, as you said, the subject is more analytical than conceptual. So in 3 hours of time, we can't keep on thinking and writing the answers. Like I feel like the 3 hours is not sufficient for an analytical, because the brain should be keep on working, and the energy slowly drains, and our efficiency decreases. And at after 50% of the time, we won't be able to think how we used to think at starting 1 hour. Like, so I feel like conceptual is somewhat better than this. Can you?
Yeah, Uday, that's again an individual choice. Okay, that number one, it is individual choice. Number two, and as you are presuming, or as you're apprehensive of the fact that if it is a analytical subject, my brain will boil and my head, well, it's not like that. That's the reason why we train. Okay, the subject nature is like that. See, public administration, when you have the analytical bent of mind, for example, if you take me, I have an analytical bent of mind. Even if when I watch a movie, I tend to analyze. I tend to think about left and right. Right? And who is that? What is that? That's a bent of mind. So when you're reading that particular subject, you'll be trained. You won't have that problem. Right? Over a period of time, you get trained and you won't face that problem at all. All right.
Okay, sir.
Absolutely. So one more question. Adarsh has raised the hand.
Please.
Adarsh, I'm unmuting you. Please go ahead.
Sir, I need to know about the psychology subject, sir. You said about the psychology subject.
See, psychology was once a very scoring optional, but lately it has not become very popular. But I am hearing that psychology is becoming upcoming again. So psychology is also another subject that is very conceptual oriented. It's concept oriented. Many a time, see, in paper 2 psychology, there are few areas where you may not find appropriate material. So that much only I know. I don't have a thorough insight about psychology as of now, because my knowledge, what I have about psychology, is little outdated, and maybe I will update to you through Suman.
Absolutely. Sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, can we take one more question, sir?
Yeah, one more. Anvesh Shah has asked has typed one thing. Is a working profession, working in IOCL. Find it difficult to maintain consistent preps with my job. Any suggestions? Yeah, see, Anvesh Shah, it is very simple. You have to train your mind to use all your time. So don't fix a time. See, the main problem with the human mind is we try to set standards and become enslaved to the standards. We fix a plan and will bend backwards to implement the plan. So always give a leeway to your plan, have an allowance. That's again a better. That's again a better one. Probably Sumant, you can help him to coordinate with us.
Absolutely.
We can discuss separately with him, because it's a very specific question to working person.
So in this regard, could you please extrapolate a little more on time management for UPSC preparation, sir, in your perspective?
See, basically time management again depends on the individual, not about the exam. Remember, you are managing your time and you're not managing the exam's time. If you ask me how much time, if you ask UPSC how much time I should spend for preparing, UPSC will tell you 48 hours a day, which is impossible. So everybody has only 24 hours time. And remember, Joe Biden also has 24 hours time, and Vladimir Putin also has 24 hours time, and Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, also has 24 hours time. And they do bigger things within which time we find it very difficult to manage our own preparation. So first of all, it is a kind of a notion. At the outset, let me put that across. Secondly, when it comes to planning for the examination, let us go get specific to it. When it comes to examination, you have to, first of all, determine how many hours of sleep your body requires. Sound mind in sound body. There are short sleepers and there are long sleepers. For instance, if you take me, I'm a short sleeper. If I have a sleep for about 4 to 5 hours, I'll be very comfortable. The next 19 hours, I'll be up and, very good. I'll be bright. But there are people who may not be able to sustain with 5 hours sleep. They will definitely want 7 hours sleep. So it's between 5 to 8 hours. If you are sleeping less than 5, it's difficult. If it is more than 8, then it is difficult. You have a problem. Right? You cannot be a very short sleeper or a very long sleeper. Now, you have to determine what kind of a person you are. How many hours of sleep you want. Begin your planning from there. Right? Begin your planning from there. Then, second aspect is, when do you see how many hours you can sit together? For instance, if you take me as a person, I would love to sit for at least 3 hours without any disturbance. So I always prefer to do my work at night. And somebody may prefer that, sir, why to unnecessarily burn the midnight oil? Instead, I will wake up early in the morning before the world wakes up. Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. And there are other sets of people who will want to have little breaks. I'll sit only for 1 hour, take a 10 minutes break, then 1 hour, 10 minutes break. Accordingly, you fix first of all. Then the third point is, as I told you, whether you want to do it at night or whether you want to finish off your work before your daily chores. Two options. These three are the fundamental conditions for planning. After that, you put up your plans. Then you fix the time. If it is early morning, at what time you want to wake up. And one more thing, let me tell you, when people, I've seen people planning, morning 4 o'clock, I wake up, 4:30, I will have, I'll sit for optional, 4:30 to 6:30, public administration, chapter 3, 4, 5, and 6:35 to 7:35, newspaper, that doesn't work. Give allowances, right? Give allowances and always plan for 28 days, 7 into 4, like your mobile company, right? For every mobile company, every month has only 28 days. No, not 30 days. The reason is the 2 days is for revision or to cover the portions what you would have skipped. For example, day 1 to day 5 would have gone well. 6th day, uncle came, mama came, and I had to take him somewhere out, and so I could not complete the schedule. Then that will be done in the 28th day, 27th, 29th day or 30th day. Am I clear? And every week you plan only for 6 days. The 7th day will be revision. Right? Have always allowances. Now the planning is done for you. Got it? A pragmatic plan is one that works. A pragmatic plan will always suit the person, not the requirement of the system. All right. And depending upon your choice, see, many of us, we are different. Each one is different, right? So some of us will want, small chocolates. Like, okay, today I want to complete newspaper, this many pages, this many questions. Set small goals. Set small goals, and those goals will be packed in your planning. That will be enough, right? That's how the planning has to be. I think I've given
Absolutely, sir.
Right?
Absolutely. It's very insightful, sir. So final words, one more last question I have is generally a student who comes to me and asks questions regarding optional, and they ask me, should I complete my GS portion before I begin my optional, or is it to be done parallel? If you could answer that last question, sir.
Absolutely, it has to be done parallelly. See, remember, optional subjects, previously, when there was option in your prelims, you will be exposed to option and you'll be studying it. But now, if only you clear the prelims, you will know any need for the use of optional arises. So if you want to complete the GS and then begin your optional, then you will be in trouble. So optional subjects, you have to plan for long time. Right? Now you are assuming that you are starting now. Only in October you need your optional subject. So you have to plan for the 6 months. So do it parallelly, but you can limit the time. If you are during the prelims, if you are spending 9 hours a day or 8 hours a day, you can reduce the time you spend for option to 1 hour. The remaining 7 hours you can give for GS. But otherwise, you must do it parallelly. The main reason is because it is sublime. It will be volatile, and you will lose it. Once you lose it, then you will start. You'll end up beginning from scratch, which is difficult. So it's better to do parallelly.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, thank you so much for making time and being a part of this session. And any last words you like to give to the students who are taking up the prelims 2023 and regarding options?
So actually, pleasure is mine, Sumant. You have made me to sit with the young minds. The teachers have the privilege of sitting with young minds and be young. And that's one good thing about this. And secondly, coming to the prelims, main point what I would like to tell you is that be watchful of your negative marks. Fix your range. Take tests. Take as many tests as possible and take the test seriously. Very important. Take the test seriously. I don't think that this is as if a class test. What am I going to do? It is only practice test. Practice makes the man perfect. So apply every technique that you have been taught to apply in your everyday test. And as much questions as you are exposed to, so much you get the examiner's mindset, and so much you are close to success. So never ever drop the test, even if you are, for reasons which are genuine, you're not able to take the test. Ensure that you're taking it again. And so this is only one point agenda what I would like to push through to the students who plan to appear in the prelims this time. Tests are important. Take the tests and take the tests. That's it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for those insights, students. For those of you who are very serious on taking your preparation to the next level with public administration as an optional, we will surely reach out to you where you will be able to connect with sir for public administration as an optional in the further days. And one more shout out, that is, I want all of you to please have a look at sir's second edition of Indian Polity and Constitution by Pearson's, which is a very matured perspectives are given related to mains, along with the previous year questions. Sir, thank you so much for making time and being a part of the session, and looking forward to more sessions with you and more insights.
Sure. Definitely. Thank you, Suman. Thank you very much, students, for your patience, and wish you very all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, students.